Hello, Internet, and welcome to the free-to-play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Magicman. I've got my friends with me, as usual. He's back, a couple of weeks off, so I'm sure he's angry about something. It's Havek. How are you, sir?
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Why do I always gotta be angry about something?
Well, you're not an angry guy by nature. You're pretty, just a mellow dude. But every time you're on the show, there's, something that really sets you off, and I never know what it's going to be, so I try to kind of tread carefully through the topics.
Yeah, that's because people are stupid. So, I mean, that's really all you could say at this point. There's just so much stupidity out there that needs to be brought to everybody else's attention.
Epic troll is epic.
True.
And we've also got, back from last week, Kaylin. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
See, you sound like a lady again. Awesome.
I know. 2 weeks in a row.
I know. That was the first thing you posted. Hey, I watched the show. I didn't sound like a man. I said, no, you did not. It's because you weren't dying of influenza or whatever you had.
Typhoid.
Typhoid Mary?
Typhoid Kaylin. We've got some news to cover, and we also, as always, have our weekly bombs, your questions, and your feedback. So let's get right to it and start with the news. So right on MMOBomb.com, I put an article up this week about this first story, the Ouya console. You guys got a chance to take a look at that, right? What are they up to right now on Kickstarter there, Havek?
Right now, let me refresh this guy. They're up to 4.9. Yeah.
4.9 million.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Whoops. 4.9 million. Yes.
And they're up to 4.9. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Yes. Ha 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 ha.
So if you guys haven't read the article or you're not familiar with the Ouya, give you the broad overview. Ouya is on a Kickstarter campaign right now. What they're trying to do with the Ouya project is create an Android-based console. Wireless controller, little console that hooks up to your television and lets you play Android games. So I'm assuming that we're going to expect to see, what, Kaylin? Things like Angry Birds and the stuff that's on our mobile?
That's what I'm expecting, yeah. I don't know what else they do the way they're talking about it.
Yeah, and I mean, the specs for the console aren't, when you look at the specs, you're like, well, it's okay, it doesn't look that impressive, but then you also have to think that this isn't obviously going up against the Xbox or the PlayStation 3 or anything like that. It's made for a different type of gaming market. Now, what makes this unique is that the whole thing's totally open source. So, Havek, you're, like we talked about on a previous show, you're the guy that's rooting your cell phones and taking this and hacking this and playing with this piece of equipment. One of the things I think you would like about the Ouya is that they're basically saying hackers are welcome. You can root the system. It's easy to root it. It doesn't void your warranty. All the hardware and the software itself is totally open source, so everything opens with standard screws. Hardware hackers, you can create your own peripherals, connect USB or Bluetooth. You want the hardware design, they say, hey, ask for it, we might just give it to you. And they give the specs, but because it's based on Android, basically any app developer could publish their Android app to the Ouya. So pretty much limited, and then they've got some other functionality as far as watching Twitch TV streaming and things like that. So they were originally looking for $950,000 in funding, and like Havek said, they're just under $5 million. I've got split feelings on this particular system, though. So I'm going to start with you, Havek. Thoughts in general? Does it excite you? Are you interested by it? Could you not care less? The reason we're bringing it up is because the makers, even though it's totally open source, are putting a requirement on developers that some aspects of the games you create have to be free to play. They've used League of Legends and Team Fortress 2 as examples where you have to have some aspect of your game, either the whole game, a trial, this, that, with a cash up. Some aspect has to be free to play. So the console itself's $99. At least the way they're forecasting it now. And then it's free to play with the whole big Android market. How you feel, Havek?
See, I honestly don't know how I feel about this one because first off, I would assume that they had to have gotten Google's permission to use the Android. If it's truly built off the Android operating system, granted, it is open source, but whenever you start loading it on things and selling it, well, you can get into a little, I can't just start making a piece of hardware and start loading, Google's Android OS on it and say, oh, well, it's open source. It's kind of like you can't mass distribute like Linux.
Right.
So, I would assume that they got permission. Let's just assume that at this point.
Yeah.
I really, why not just get the adapter why not just get the adapter for a tablet and just set your tablet and hook it up to your TV? Like, that's really all they're doing is instead of giving you a tablet, they're giving you a controller.
Right.
And what I really see coming out of this is just a whole bunch of just shitty games. I just see the Android, the marketplace that's already on the Android operating system. You'll get one or two pretty good ones like Angry Birds and things like that everybody absolutely loves, but a whole lot of crap like, Gold's Solitaire. I really, man, I just think that it's going to flood with just junk games. Any game that's going to be worth anything and one that you would want to play, I foresee it being something like you get the first level for free and then you have to pay $10 for the game. That's how I see it. Any game that's, worth a damn, that's how I see it happening.
Yeah, and Damina and I were talking about this a couple of days ago when it was, only at $3 million. And I made the same point to her that, open up your cell phone, go to the Android marketplace, and you've got a group of titles at the top of the market that are just killing it, hand over fist, making money and selling or being free, and just download count huge. And then you have everybody else. There isn't really a sliding scale of good to bad. Here's
the other thing that kind of I just thought about this. Most of the games on the Android marketplace, let's be real here. Let's be 100% honest. The games that are developed for Android, for your phones, for your tablets, they're not gaming games. They're basically games that you use while, killing time while you're dropping a deuce. Don't sit there and invest hours upon hours on these games. I just don't foresee it being as big as they want it to be or as big as they think it's going to be. Because, like I said, the games that are going to be available, it's like if you and I got together and tried to develop a game. Yeah, we could probably do it if we get somebody who could draw. But how much time could we possibly invest? There's a reason why EA Games is so big. There's a reason why these game programming companies are so massive, because these games are good. Right. This is just going to promote crap.
Yeah, and Kalen, I have a feeling that obviously you're going to have some great titles, and you're going to have some developers. You've got quite a few that are on board with this already, including Mojang, the team behind Minecraft, Jordan Mechner, creator of Prince of Persia. You've got some big names and some developers that are saying, hey, we'd like to get our hands on this and try something. So I think you will have that bigger gamer experience in some titles, but those are going to be few and far between, I would imagine, Kalen.
Oh, I agree. Just the nature of, if you look, like you said, at the market, people don't want to pay more than $5 for a game.
Right.
And I don't think you're going to see a lot of development, a lot of really long-term, extensively developed games like that, just because of the amount of cost involved in creating the game versus what people are willing to pay for it. The Android users, the people who are going to be using this platform, are used to paying $1, $5 for something really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to want to shell out the money required for some of these more in-depth games.
Do you know where I see this thing actually being good for kids?
Where's that?
For kids.
That was my thought exactly.
You put your kid in front of Angry Birds on your big screen TV, and then you could just go to the bar. Just leave them. Let Angry
That's
Birds
not exactly what I was saying, but
get it. Man up. Let the Angry Birds watch the kitties for a little bit, you know?
I know who's never babysitting for me.
Because there's like I said, there's just absolutely no way. I get I'm sorry that I'm pretty much dominating this this conversation. I really apologize.
No, I just put it on the show notes because it's definitely, you know, your type of topic. You're big with the Android stuff. You're big with the tearing it apart and rebuilding it and hacking it and rooting it. This is your type of top. Let me give you the specs here, Havek.
All right.
You got a Tegra 3 quad-core processor, 1 gig RAM, 8 gigs of internal flash storage, HDMI to go out to the TV that supports 1080p, Wi-Fi typical 802.11 BGNs, Bluetooth, USB 2.0, one output, a wireless controller that, okay, let's just say it right now, it looks exactly like the Xbox 360 controller, except it includes a touch screen in the center.
Yeah, it does.
And Android 4.0. So looking at those specs right now, there are tablets on the market that beat this, hands down.
Yes.
As far as specs, those tablets are already on the market.
Yeah. That's strictly a phone and tablet processor, isn't it, Howard?
Right. So there's tablets already that beat this. I believe
it is. But here's the other thing, too. If you think about it this way, like Angry Birds is... I keep picking on that one because it is so massive.
It's the one everybody knows.
Everybody knows this. You could do Temple Run, but not everybody knows Temple Run, but we'll stick with Angry Birds. The developers of Angry Birds, what they're going to have to do, now they'll be able to do it a lot easier than any of these other games, but they're going to have to make it so you can use a controller.
Right.
Really, you can actually... you could really set up a tablet to do all of this already. Yeah. Like, I could already do this as long as you have an adapter. You get a Bluetooth. You can get the Bluetooth business. You can get some hacks. I'm not going to explain how to do it because it would go into a lot of time. But you could get a Bluetooth controller, blah, 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 and you could do it without having to pay $100 for the box. And like I said, I just don't see any good games coming to this. It's going to be the crap that you see on the Android market. A handful of winners, a whole lot of losers.
Yeah. Well, and here's the Q&A directly from their Kickstarter campaign. And first off, let me get my 2 cents in here, because it's hard to argue with $5 million raised. And that's the part I keep struggling with in my brain, is that I look at this and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of neat. It's kind of cool. I don't see it replacing an Xbox or anything. I just don't even see it in the same category because of what it's doing. So it's kind of neat, kind of cool. How long would I actually play it? I don't know. It's only $99. Would I buy it? Probably, just to give it a shot. But it's also one of those things that I see a month or two after I buy it collecting a lot of dust on my entertainment stand. But then I look at $5 million. Apparently there is a lot of people, well, to be exact, right now 38,000 plus people that really want to play Android games on their TV.
Well, let me ask this, because I haven't seen now. So their Android apps, of course, would have to be developed separately for this.
Correct.
Now, what about things like Netflix, Hulu Plus, that people are also really into? I mean, that I can see being...
Well,
okay.
I've got to assume that the ability will be there at some point. And again, you could hack this damn thing any way you want.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Havek, may say, okay, I can set this up and actually feed my Netflix account to it, even though it wasn't built to do that. But I assume they're examining things like that because they're already advertising that, hey, somebody's streaming on Twitch TV, you now have the ability to watch it on your television through this. So, to Havek's points about the games, though, in the FAQ, they asked, when you say free games, what does that mean exactly? Because in my article, I put free-to-play as both a pro and a con for this thing, specifically for the same reasons you gave, Havek, a very flooded marketplace, one that's going to be rampant with piracy, I would imagine. Havek creates a game, I knock it off just a little bit and sell it for $1 cheaper.
Yep.
So when they say free-to-play games, what do you mean exactly? Their answer is, we want you to pay only for the games you love. A free-to-play model works when everyone, gamers and game makers, benefits from directly rewarding amazing games. For gamers, every game will be free to play. What this means is that there will be at least a free demo, or you will be able to play the entirety of the game for free, but you may have access to additional items, upgrades, or other features that come at a cost. For developers, free-to-play means that they can set their own prices. Developers know best. I disagree with that, but developers know best. There is no better way to sell a game than to have folks that have actually touched the game share glowing reviews with their friends. By allowing some sort of free-to-play, will help them do just that. The only reason you used to pay for games before playing them is that you couldn't try them at the store before you brought them home. It's a relic of an old way of doing business, and one of the many things about the game business we plan to change. And that's one of their big MOs, is that this is kind of like a fight the man in the game things, and Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft and these big publishers have this big budget way of doing things that, in their opinion, stifles creativity, where the Ouya being open, creative minds can abound and do whatever they want. And yeah, I get the concept of that, even if I don't absolutely agree with it. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this thing, Havek.
And you know what else is going to end up happening? And I could almost guarantee this as well. EA, and again, I'm picking on EA, not because I dislike
big guys,
EA.
That's all.
They're just a big company. Everybody knows them. So I'm constantly, like I said, I have nothing against EA. I think they make some great games. We could take Blizzard. We could take whoever you want. A big game manufacturing company. What I see this becoming is you just now paid $99 to have somebody shove advertisements down your throat. I don't foresee. I understand what they're trying to do for the little gaming companies that are trying, like the free-to-play companies that are trying to produce a great game, something that somebody would want to play, but just can't, they're just having problems getting it out there, getting people playing, whatever.
Yeah, getting funding.
People that want to develop games for the TV. The problem is when you're going with the Android operating system now, one, you're running the risk of, just like I said, people flooding the market with garbage games, Solitaire, Sudoku. If I see one more Sudoku come up on my editor's choice in the marketplace on my Android devices, I am going to go insane, okay? Sudoku sucks. It's terrible. I hate it. Okay? So, and what else I foresee happening here is the bigger companies are still going to come in and they're going to bully out the little ones. Because this is a perfect place for, say you and I have a great idea for a game. One of us is a coder, one of us is great at art, and we start getting a couple people together. We put something up as a free-to-play on there. EA comes along, they see this, oh, whoa, wait a second, this is a great idea for a game, let's take this and switch things around just a little bit so we can't get in trouble for, copyright. That's what I see happening here. I think they're opening themselves up for a lot of problems. And especially, like I said, the bigger companies, I see them coming in and putting in Assassin's Creed 13, free, 2 levels. That's so you get a demo of the game. So and then you're like, oh, okay, well then I'm going to go out and buy this on the Xbox. That's what I see happening. A lot of problems. I understand what they want to do, but I just don't think it's going to go the way that they're anticipating.
And Mojang, I mean, everybody keeps asking, am I going to be able to get Minecraft on it? Am I going to be able to get Minecraft on it? Mojang's quote is, if Ouya delivers on the promise of being the first true open gaming platform that gives indie developers access to the living room gaming market, yes, that's a great idea. We will follow the development of Ouya and see how it resonates with gamers. I could see all Mojang games go on the platform if there's a demand for it. So I'll sum that all up nicely for you. If we can make money, yes, we'll put Minecraft on Ouya.
Yeah.
Let me just sum that one up for you.
I really hope that they're going to have some kind of expandable slot, because 8 gigs, That's ridiculous. My cell phone has more internal memory.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I put as a con right now. And keep in mind, this isn't slated to release until end of first quarter-ish 2013. I mean, they haven't been specific about the date, but they're kind of targeting pre-E3 next year. Tablets are already crushing these specs now.
Yep. And
I have to think, though, and here's my saving grace for this part, I have to think, though, that now that they're looking at $5 million they didn't anticipate having, I think those specs are going to change and change quick.
Like, you're actually dead on. I keep refreshing the page to see what's going on. So right now they're sitting at around 38,705 idiots that are backing this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's there people backing this that are donating money, and they're almost at 4 million over what their goal was. They're at 4.941. So yeah, they're almost 4 million.
I'm gonna say something that, and I'm such a sucker. I'm gonna buy it.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I maybe.
I'm gonna come over and hack that thing.
Well, I'm hoping you'll come and help me, because here's what I want to do with it, and here's what I think a lot of people want to do with it, and why there might be such an interest in this. Why can't you backwards hack this? There's no reason you can't, and turn this into your NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Dreamcast emulators. And if you are a big classic gamer like that, I don't see any reason you can't hack this to the point where you can make it be an emulator.
Do you know that there's already emulators on the Android market? So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So there's no reason you couldn't do it.
Yes. Yeah. And I would assume if it's based off of the Android OS, even if they don't include the Android market on the device, I could tell you how to push games into the...
Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be its own marketplace, just because, like you said, one of the big things is controller adaptation.
Give it a couple of weeks, though, for a developer to get at it, and they'll have the market on there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't doubt it, yeah. And your thing about Netflix and Hulu, I think that's just a stone's throw away.
Honestly, I think they'd be stupid if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. That's just right there. I mean, you look at the good... If that's got that kind of specs, if they're going to make them better. That good of a streaming box, even. I mean, look at Roku box. A good Roku box is $100, and it streams.
Yeah.
But if you already have a PlayStation, an Xbox, a Wii, you can already stream Netflix right to your TV.
Right.
So you're going to pay $900?
Havek, I'm going to leave you with one quote, and then we got to move on to the next story here, because this seems to be a question on everybody's mind, and it's something we've talked about here. On their FAQ, is this just about playing mobile and tablet games on my TV?
Yes! That's all it is.
And, well, their answer is no.
They're liars!
No, nope, niet, nyen. How can we say it? Nine? How can we say it more clearly? Ouya was not created merely to host ports of existing Android games. We've built this bad boy to play the most creative content from today's best-known AAA game designers as well as adored indie game makers. That said, we believe many existing Android games will feel bigger and better on a TV with a real controller, and we've heard from developers like Brian Fargo and Adam Saltzman that the controller will be the most exciting reason to develop for Ouya. We hope they speak for all developers when they say Ouya will inspire new forms of gameplay. Yeah, because nobody's ever used a controller or designed a game around a controller before.
They still have 23 days left of this.
Yeah.
That's what I find amusing.
And, well, that's the part I keep, I'm like, okay, there's pros and cons. I don't know which way I'm going to go, but there are $5 million backed into this already, so clearly they've hit a nerve. Whether it's the mobile nerve that they want to play it on the TV, whether it's the open source nerve for both developers and players, whether it's the hacking and modding community, they've hit a nerve with this thing, and that's impossible to deny.
Yeah. Well, look at their backers too.
Or people aren't thinking of what the like I said, the ability. Like if you and I create a game, we post it up there, and it gets a little bit of buzz or whatnot, and then EA comes in and swoops and grabs our concept of a game and creates a different game off of it. See, the problem is with this, you're right, we do have to move on because we could really dedicate a whole show just to this little box thing. So we should probably move on before my head explodes.
Well, let's get the viewers' feedback. Tell us what you think about the Ouya console. Let's ignore the $99 cost for the actual console itself. What do you think about the free-to-play market? Is that going to need some more defining before this thing actually launches? Come on over to MMO Bomb, read the article that I posted there, put your comments below that as well. If you look at the comments for the article, Havek, there's people that are, oh, this is great, this is fantastic, this is awesome, and then there's other people that are like, why the hell would you even think about buying this? So, I mean, we're not alone. Havek, it sounds like something you're not interested in. Safe to say?
See,
let's put the final thumbs up, thumbs down on this and move on.
I can't give you a thumbs up, thumbs down because I would be interested in getting it to hack it. That's why I would be interested in it.
Okay, so then they hit the hacking nerve with you.
Yes, to hack it, to mod it, to to root it, to blah 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 blah.
What about you, Kaylin?
Ridiculous games.
Right now, I think it's a waste of money. I think it's pay $100 to do something I can already do on my phone, my tablet, or one of my other consoles.
All right, so we've got a thumb in the middle from Havek, a thumbs down from Kaylin. I'm going to say thumbs up for now. I'm going to reserve the right to give it a thumbs down if the free-to-play definition isn't clearly defined sometime soon, and if those specs don't go up, like I think they're going to based on the amount of funding that they have. So based on those two things, if I assume they happen the way they probably should, I'll give this thing a thumbs up. I want to be able to mod it out and play consoles and classic consoles and things like that on there. Don't know how much time I'll spend playing Angry Birds and stuff like that. I think it just gathered dust at that point.
Like I said, the sad thing is that my HTC Evo that I had how many years ago is more powerful than this thing. Like, you probably should have spec'd it out a little bit more hardcore than 8 gigs and then 1 gig of RAM. You probably should have spec'd it out a little bit better than that.
Well, hey, I give them credit saying that that's what they needed to get this thing up and running, at least to function the way they wanted it to. Now that they have over 5 times the funding that they needed, I don't think those specs are going to hold. I think you're going to see added USB ports. I think you're going to see an Ethernet port added so that it doesn't rely on being Wi-Fi inside the house.
But then again, that's also going to jack up the price of the box.
I was just going to say, more specs, bigger
definitely.
Price.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I mean, they're planning $99 right now. I could see this going for probably $149, depending on what they do with it. I think if they get above $150, it's over. The game's up.
Yeah,
or they'll sell.
Say, at what point? At what ceiling is? Or at what point is the ceiling cap?
Or like the Xbox, they have different versions for different prices. Xbox, PlayStation, you can get a base.
I don't think you can I don't think you could separate your own market like this. The whole idea is that it's open source. Do this, 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 this. Oh, but by the way, when you're making your games, you have to contemplate whether the person possibly has this version or this version.
No, I'm saying one with more memory, one with an Ethernet port instead of just Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Faster, different specs,
but the thing is like that, you don't necessarily need them to do it because it's open source. You can go in and put the hardware in if you want it there. So, yeah, it's all kinds of messy. Give us your feedback. What do you think? Ouya console, and they are saying that it eventually will be worldwide, so this is not just a United States thing or a North America thing. Europe, Asia, all those countries, South America, everybody listening to the show. Give us your feedback. What do you think? Let's move on.
Please.
Yeah.
Good grief.
28
minutes of Ouya.
We could do a whole show on just that little contraption. Yep. I wish them luck. I'm not going to lie. I do. I wish them luck. Too. I hope they get something. I hope they prove me wrong.
Phantasy Star Online 2 by Sega.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big PSO fan from back on the Dreamcast. I gave it a da-bomb last week with Kaylin, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, because they finally announced, hey, we're giving you a US and a European version of the game after we had all just been playing the Japanese beta anyway. So the game launched in Japan July 4th. It was originally slated as a Japan exclusive, and then last week they announced, okay, fine, we'll give you a US and an EU version, or an NA and an EU version. So everybody, PSO fans, we all rejoiced. Yay! You know, it's coming, finally. We don't have to try and translate Japanese. So no secret, I've been looking forward to it. I've been very happy playing it. I told you guys last week, Caitlin, that if you played the previous Phantasy Star Onlines and you liked them, you will like Phantasy Star Online 2. If you're totally new to the series, you're going to know very quickly whether you like it or not as soon as you play it. It's not going to be something you have to sink a ton of time into to find out if it's for you or not. And if you didn't like PSO 1, you probably aren't going to like PSO 2. So I was super happy that it was announced for North America and Europe. I gave it the da-bomb last week, but then something happened, Havek.
I love it.
Kotaku reported, and other media outlets reported as well, but primarily Kotaku broke it. PSO2 was hacked.
Havek.
No.
With Havek.
No. Don't even say that. I don't want them coming after me.
And Sega very quickly said, hey, no player data was leaked in the hack. They very quickly came out and said that. So then what do we mean by it was hacked? Well, somebody hacked the game and started moving NPCs. And they moved...
Sorry.
It's funny because it didn't happen to you. If this happened to you...
Oh my god, if this happened in WoW, I'd flip shit, and I'd go absolutely bonkers.
So NPCs were moved out of reach. They were put up on ledges and behind glass and things like that so that you couldn't possibly interact with them. So you could not turn in quests. You couldn't continue quest lines.
This is great.
You know, and I don't mean, I am not making light of the people playing this game that are probably pissed by this. Oh, I definitely would be too. I am not making light of their plight. I just think that this is the craziest hack story I've seen in a while, and I've seen a lot of them.
I get mad when people camp the NPCs in WoW. You know, I can only imagine just standing there and seeing the NPC that you need to turn in floating above you. Oh.
Who's the jackass with their mount on the NPC?
Yes!
Get your mount off the damn mailbox!
I've heard that a couple of times.
So Sega said it was aware of the hack, it's investigating it, no player data was leaked or anything like that. But hey, by the way, if you happen to be walking around and you see an NPC in a weird location, they do want you to kind of leave the area and go do something else. Here's the wicked part of this. So here's the two things we've got to talk about on this topic. One, does this impact North America and the European release slated for 2013 of the game? And two, what kind of social dynamic does this put into place? And I'm gonna bring something up here, and then Caitlin, you can go wild. Japanese sites are blaming outsiders for the attacks, and they say they have chat transcripts that seem to point towards English-speaking players and chat logs that think, you know, this is going to happen again, and they've been doing it since the closed beta. Primarily, they think it's because, you know, English-speaking nations, the United States, European Union countries, whatever, were upset that it wasn't going to be Japan exclusive, so they decided to just start hacking. And so now Japanese players are all pissed off, and now, you know, American, North American, European players are pissed off that they're being accused of this, but it probably was them. I can't say it was or was not, but apparently they have chat logs. Sega's banned 75 accounts. Is this the end for PS2 after it just started? Are we never going to see this in America or Europe now, Caitlin?
No, I don't think so. And I just keep, the whole time you're saying this, I just keep laughing. I'm like, did Anonymous get a hold of
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I think honestly it was, I don't think it was, I think if it was, not, they're not going to let some childish mischief.
Right.
Because that's really what it was. There was no player data compromise. They didn't take the servers down. They didn't do anything. I mean, yeah, it was inconvenient. It probably pissed a lot of people off, but it was, essentially just mischief.
Yeah, but then you got to look at it from the other side, though, that if somebody has the capability to go in and do this Havek, what's stopping them from getting player data?
See, I'm gonna agree with her and say this really was strictly. I mean, because if you can get in there and you can read their code enough and manipulate their code to move in NPC, it's not like you just go and camp out
Drag
on
and
it.
drop.
Yeah, you're literally you got to move it through code. It's
Right.
not like Visual Basic where you're adjusting buttons where buttons are in a piece
Right.
of code. You actually have to adjust the code. So they could have done a lot worse. And I think that's where I agree with her. That I really don't foresee this stopping the release of the game for us. I think it was mischievous. I think it was childish, but oh so funny. Sorry, Japan.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Havek, but I think, because you know more about this, the computers and the hacking and whatnot, but like I said before, if they have the capabilities of doing that, they could have done a lot more, and they didn't. But a lot of time, I know, like, a lot of these people, these hackers per se, will do this kind of thing to point out security flaws in. They'll do it because, well, you guys didn't do this right. You need to fix this. And it's the easiest way to get someone's attention is, okay, well, we found a weakness here. We're going to exploit it. Now they're going to fix it. And I think, honestly, I think it was a good thing. I mean, I know it pissed a lot of people off, but now they're aware.
You're actually absolutely right, because if you can get in there to edit the code, you can get in there to delete the code. So, I mean, if you're able to edit it, that means you could they could have...
Yeah, you have read-write abilities.
Yeah, they could have just completely wiped out the NPCs altogether, and now they have to start from scratch and reprogram those NPCs. Now, granted, they probably... Well, not probably. They definitely have server backups and redundancy and blah, 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 blah. So I would take 30 seconds, but I think that that's what happened here. I think they did it as, mischievous, and they kind of wanted to point out a security flaw because this is the easiest way to get their attention.
I see. I'm with you guys. I totally agree that a lot of hacking takes place for that very reason. I think this was probably what Japanese players are accusing it of being. I think this was... Well, I don't know where they would be from, but I do think they would be English-speaking players that were pissed that this was a Japanese exclusive, so they decided, when they played the beta and saw some openings, they decided they were going to create a little Havek.
I actually...
Excellent choice of words.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I
don't think that this is pointing out security.
So what if they were speaking English? So you mean to tell me that nobody in Japan or China, nobody over there speaks English? Not one person? Just
no,
because of the
absolutely.
chat log. But that's what
absolutely not. I'm not implying that at all.
But what you're saying is that these people that because they were speaking English, and I'm guessing because I clicked on the link and I'm trying to find the chat logs that everybody keeps saying. Just because you speak English and speak it, and you may speak it very well, does not mean, your chat logs mean absolutely nothing unless it has an IP on it.
Right.
And even if it has an IP, there's tunneling, there's all sorts, I mean, for goodness sake, I'm behind 7 proxies, come at me, bro. That's that meme is out there, because I could say I'm anywhere in the world. And again, seriously, you gotta be real childish to think, you gotta be real naive to think that this is how the quote Western world is going to show you that they're pissed off that you're not bringing a game to us. Plus, you kind of got to be stupid to do something like this. I really think it was a security flaw because They could have done so much more. If I was pissed off because I wasn't going to get a game, I wouldn't move an NPC. I'd delete it. I'd start deleting players' gear. Like, I'd be pissed, not mischievous. But
all right, agree to disagree on that one. We got to keep moving, man. We spent way too much time on Ouya.
We picked good topics for Havek, too, this week.
We did. It's good to have them today. PSO2, I'm excited. I hope this doesn't delay it. All right. So over at the site right now, we've got the Raiders beta key giveaway coming up. Everybody's excited for that. Beta finally starts August 8th. We've got a ton of keys to give away. Go over to the site for more information.
I get one of those keys?
Yeah.
You know it. Lucent Hearts pet giveaway. We've got a ton of free pets on the website for you as well. Let's move over to the weekly bombs. Boy, we got to move fast here. So I'm going to give mine first. I did a first look this past week for Night Age. It's a JoyMax game. Free-to-play, kind of an MMORPG with an anime feel to it. And I'm going to give it an A-bomb, guys.
Ooh.
But not because the game is all that bad. I actually had fun while making the first look, and I am going to jump in every now and then. I could see myself playing it every now and again. So it's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a big fan of the art style. It's a bit different when it comes to comparing it to most anime MMO things. But in the beta, which was one of those closed betas that everybody could get into, which first off I can't stand. But anyway, in the beta there were problems that I just couldn't even chalk up to the game being in beta. Normally Havek will say, oh, I played this, but it's in beta, so I'm going to give it a little slack, right?
Mm.
Couldn't even give it slack on these things. I mean, there were things like the fonts being cut off so that you couldn't see the bottom of the letters. Like, you would zone into a new area and the title would appear in the middle of the screen and then fade out. The bottoms of the fonts were cut off. You couldn't, any G's or J's or anything like that. You couldn't see the bottoms of them. There was also, and they said that this, on the forums, multiple people were complaining about this. They said it was a random bug, but it happened to me on 3 different characters on different quests, that you weren't able to actually turn in quests. You would get a quest. One of them was in the tutorial for me, for crying out loud. It was in the tutorial. 3rd quest, go talk to this dude. You go and you click on him. It says, click on here if you want to turn in the quest, or click on here to escape, right? Typical. Mm-hmm. You can't click on either of them. Can't do anything. You have to hit escape, and it takes you back out to the main screen where you're playing, but you can't do anything. You're done. You can't advance anymore. Happened on 3 characters, 3 different quests. These are basic starting zone things. These weren't like we were level 20, Havek and I running a dungeon, and a boss bugged out, or the boss quest couldn't be turned in. I mean, these were, for crying out loud, one of them was in the tutorial.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, those don't you think that the tutorial and the starting zone would have been the thing that was just tested inside and out internally? And then fonts. I mean, is there really an excuse for fonts being out of line? And
stuff shouldn't have made it past alpha.
Yeah, there's just some weird things going on. I hope JoyMax fixes them, because I actually enjoyed some of the features in Night Age, and I'd like to check out some more of the game. But every time I get a character, I get blocked from moving in the story anymore. What do you got, Kaylin? Dub bomb, A bomb?
I'm gonna give it a dub bomb right now.
All right.
I'm gonna reserve judgment for a little bit. So I'm giving it a dub bomb with a rights to revise later. But Amazon's announcement of their Game Connect.
Right.
I think it's great. They're trying to kind of put a dent into Steam, which we'll see if that actually happens. But they announced the launch of Game Connect, which is a new service that will see many of the more popular free-to-play and MMOs delivered digitally to players through Amazon's digital games portal. So basically, they're trying to make similar to Steam on Amazon, which for some games I think it's great. I know there's a lot of free-to-play games out there that I'm a little leery giving them any kind of my personal information.
Well, I mean, if anybody's going to give Steam a run for its money, Amazon.
It's going to be Amazon.
They got the traffic. They got enough people coming to the site.
And right now, linking your account with Amazon Game Connect nets exclusive in-game items, so they're giving you freebies for giving it a try at least. So Yeah, I don't know. I give it a dub bomb right now. I'd like to see them give Steam a run for their money. I think it's gonna be a good thing with how reputable Amazon is to, Steam. Not a lot of people, a lot of people use Steam, but outside that gamer niche, not a lot of people know about it. So
right, very cool, very cool. I can go with you there. I give that a dub bomb. What about you, Havek? What do you got? Dub bomb, A bomb?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure every time I come on here, everybody's like, "Oh, you never talk about games." Well, I do have mine is about games.
What?
The Olympic Games. Okay. So and it's an A bomb. So
right.
let's just I'll just do this and get it over with because it hurts my soul.
Okay.
I have to know what is going on with the U.S. The Olympic uniforms. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did you? I don't know how many of you heard of this. I don't know where to start. Okay. So the first thing is the berets.
Right.
Now to me a beret does not seem it's not an American it's not an American symbol. When I see a beret, I think French or a douchebag wearing.
Jeez.
I kept that separate. I didn't say. I said either French or a douchebag. So I don't want any French people yelling at me saying that I'm saying because
one or the other.
Yes, one or the other. I'll revise it even further. If you're wearing it in the U.S., you look like a douche. If you're not from France. Okay. So and secondly,
we love our French viewers, so there's important distinction there.
Yes, I don't want to upset them. Second thing is they're actually being made by Ralph Lauren. Okay,
right.
He's a well-known designer here in America, actually probably worldwide. But I want to know what is he thinking. Now, if anybody hasn't seen them, they could probably Google the image. It's not a yacht party. Okay, it's the Olympics. Okay, I don't think Biff and Candy are going to show up in their Lexus for the yacht party, okay? It's the frigging Olympics. Now, something else was brought to my attention that I didn't notice in some of the pictures, but when he made, if you're familiar with Ralph Lauren, his logo is what? The guy on the horse playing
the polo player.
He has the logo pretty damn big on the left side and the American flag on the right side. Who wants to take that? Tell me what is wrong with that situation.
Oh yeah, the whole hand over the heart thing.
Yeah, it should be the American flag on the opposite side, and
right.
and finally, and I think
the logo, the Ralph Lauren logo, wasn't it like 6 or 7 times larger than the American flag?
Oh yeah, it's like ridiculous. It's like, okay. Now here I think is the biggest, just giant FU to our Olympic players. The uniforms are not even being made in the United States. I'm dead serious. They're being made in China. So talk about a giant slap in the face. Really at this point, all I could say is good job, America. Good job. Now, I understand that some of the uniforms in the past have also looked like yacht club, situation. But I was a little bit younger. Didn't really care about watching the Olympics. And it was also brought to my attention that last Olympics, they were also made in China, but
right.
Nobody knew. They kept that real hidden under the rug. So that's, again, I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. And I just think this is an utter disgrace and ridiculous. I'm going to Mexico. I will see you guys later. Tijuana, here I come.
There you go.
My favorite still is the picture of the guy. Okay, the Olympics do take place in the summer. They're not in the North Pole this year.
Yeah, they're in London.
Why in the heck is this guy wearing a shirt, a tie, what appears to be a cable knit sweater with a jacket and a scarf?
Well, these are the uniforms for the opening ceremony, right?
Oh my God! If they were actually competing in those, I'd quit now.
Well, no, I wasn't. I wasn't implying that they would be doing their gymnastic floor routine in the yacht club outfit.
That would be great. I'd pay to see that, though.
All right, let's move on to the viewers. This is a hot mess.
me to be on the show. Don't here, okay? Do what
What's
you're
that?
yourself into.
Right. Halo's Got Told says, Da Bomb to Planet Side 2, second title on a unique approach to MMO FPS. Looks amazing, no pay-to-win, free-to-play, persistent world-based capturing, community that has formed rivalries 10 years in the making. It's amazing all around. We kind of agree there. We talked about Planet Side 2 a couple weeks ago.
Better be with 10 years.
Yeah, no kidding. DSC DAP, DSC DAP maybe? Great show as usual. Da Bomb to Drakensang Online. Character customization and development may have the depth of a shot glass, but the gameplay is great, and the graphics don't have to hide in the shadows of genre king Diablo, especially considered it's browser-based. Game is tons of fun, and I would say not pay to win. A company with a successful AAA $60 title releasing an exclusive free-to-play title somewhere else means they want to reach a market the $60 game couldn't. That's in response to last week's question on Call of Duty being made into an online new game free-to-play in China only.
Can I give that listener a da-bomb for that analogy? That analogy was fantastic. Depth of a shot glass. I like that one.
I got to disagree with them, actually. I don't know if DSC, DAP, Big Point does Drakensang Online. They're the ones doing the Game of Thrones MMO, which we talked about last week, Caitlin.
Yes.
My problem with Drakensang Online, and I don't consider it, I guess I'm with them not being pay to win. I see what they're talking about, that they can farm all the currency in-game. It just takes a ton of time. Versus buying it. And my rationale for saying that Alad's wasn't pay to win was the same thing. Yes, the runes are incredibly expensive at endgame, but you can farm the gold even though it takes a long amount of time. So I agree on that aspect, that you can get it both ways. My problem with it, though, and what I have a problem with Drakensang's cash shop is things like dungeons you have to pay for, and when you're in the dungeon, fine. If you leave the dungeon, you have to pay again to get back in.
Ooh.
Which I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I think that's, yeah, okay, fine, you're not making it pay to win, but you're definitely making it pay to have fun at that point. Because now I've got to go and farm up the in-game currency again just to get in there. So if I die in there with Havek and I release and run back, I can't get in. If Havek reses me, fine.
That's...
Yeah, so there's definitely a problem with Drakensang, and making it a little tedious on the cash shop or farming the money. But by my definition, yes, it's not pay to win, but remember, viewers convinced me to add pay to have fun into my repertoire. Drakensang Online, in my book, is pay to have fun, unless you want to farm money over and over again for the same purchases. De-Evilification says, A-bomb for Activision. They state the Call of Duty Online will not have rehash maps, but all the maps in the trailer are from COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. New skins are all I see, otherwise it's all rehashed. We're going to make this brand new game. It's not going to be like any of our previous games, and I agree, it looks like they just took pieces of the other games and put them all together. Way to go, Activision, Havek.
What?
That's your buddies, Activision Blizzard.
I don't play Call of Duty because I end up just getting mowed anyway.
Yeah, that's the Activision side of the business anyway. We'll keep it
good.
away from Blizzard for you.
Good.
You know, you had to see that coming, though.
Yeah, that's true. Trance 22355, Da Bomb for Piranha Games, developers behind MechWarrior Online, for being so awesome putting their souls in this game. They're very active on the forum, even when they're working hard. So awesome. I'm excited about MechWarrior. What about you, Kaylin?
I have not really seen too much of it yet. I'm going to have to look into that one.
Have you ever played MechWarrior in the past? Like
I haven't.
Single-player game?
I watched my brother do it. Never.
Damien, hey Magic Man, I have an A-bomb for fantasy MMOs in general for not having a legitimate monk class in free-to-play games. Not some healing priest monk, but a hardcore fist and foot martial arts master monk. I don't want to pay for it either if it's a free-to-play game. Devs need to take into account that swords and spears are good, but breaking a jaw with a fist is way more fun. Keep up the great
Well.
work and keep the shows coming.
Someone has anger issues.
Sometimes you just want to punch something in the face.
I'm not going to comment because I don't want him punching me.
All right, so last week we asked, Lightning's got one there. What is that one, Kaylin?
Oh, let's see. I have an A-bomb and a dub-bomb. The A-bomb is to all free-to-play games because they are not managing to take my eyes off Guild Wars 2. Okay. The dub-bomb is to MMO-bomb, who is actually managing to do that. Love your shows, always interesting, and keep up the good work. Also, I need a new microphone, and I heard you know an expert can suggest a good one. Just don't talk to Brim.
Yeah, don't talk to Brim. It'll be a broken microphone. We're going to save the microphone question right now, Lightning. That's on an upcoming Q&A show that we're going to be putting out if I can get around to doing the damn thing. But appreciate the compliment. Thank you. We love doing the show, and if you don't listen to it and don't enjoy it, then we don't get to do it. So it's a mutually beneficial thing here. Last week, Havek, we asked the viewers about the Call of Duty free in China, nowhere else, and what their thoughts on it were in regards to just the concept, not even the particular game, but making a game that the rest of the world pays for free to play in one particular country. Basque said the tutorial idea is awesome, talking about the previous week's questions on different shows that we should do. I've really wanted to get into Let's Plays and podcasting, but just have no idea where to begin. As far as COD Online being free-to-play in China, I think it's a bad idea. If they're testing the waters for the free-to-play market, I wouldn't say China is a good place to start. The free-to-play market in China is very different from the US and Europe, and might give them unrealistic expectations. However, this may be good for the franchise, since I don't think any COD games are in China. Well, remember, China doesn't have console gaming, guys. It's banned.
Yep.
So right now, COD's got, what, 0 online presence, with the exception of maybe somebody finding copies of the PC versions. My concern was more spending millions of dollars to take this type of a free-to-play chance, but, you know, as our viewer pointed out, the trailer itself ended up showing that, you know, this may not exactly be brand new. Yes, absolutely. No console presence equals gotta get money somehow. Cursed. You know, a lot of free-to-play games come out only in China. I've seen this happen quite a few times. Some big companies, like ID Software, for instance, converts one of their buy-to-play or pay-to-play games into a free-to-play ripoff, for lack of a better term, and releases it in China only. How successful these games were or are, only God and the Chinese know. What I do know is that for some reason these games rarely make it back to the Western market, and if they do, they usually fail, like Company of Heroes Online did. I don't think this has a chance of coming back to the United States market. What about you guys?
Nah.
They're already getting their money off the Call of Duty console and
Yeah,
box
why give
sales.
some away when someone's willing to pay for it? Hello.
Exactly. You know, this isn't coming stateside. What do you think, Kaylin? You gave your opinion. You for, against this? What's up?
I'm still on the fence about it because I would like to see. I'm hoping this is them getting their feet wet to do this, you know, in the U.S., other countries, until I see where they're going with it.
What about you, Havek? I'm more that this is a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing for gamers. It's a good thing for COD because they're going to try to make money in a country that they're not making hardly anything on right now. So obviously, you know, there's their reason for doing it. I just think it's bad business to kind of give every other country that pays for it the middle finger. Havek?
I would have to say I really don't care one way or another. This is a game that, like I said before, I can't play. I literally can't play it. I didn't do enough console gaming when I was younger to get my fingers around the controllers. So, but I agree that it is just a giant slap in the face, and I also agree that that China is a completely different animal. And they will get an unrealistic, you know, expectations of how it's going to be in other countries, you know, here and I don't know.
Young Fauchot says, I think it's just business. Can't question companies who try to maximize profit, although it might be unfair. I think that's the best way to sum that up.
Yep, That's how I'm looking at it as a business decision. I think it's a wise business move.
And I totally agree with exactly the way this is worded. You can't really question them for trying to make some money, even though it is probably unfair. Digitalimus says, am I the only one who does fast head nods to the outro song on the free-to-play cast? No, I do it too.
Me too.
Intro and outro with great music. That's by Droideka. You can hit their YouTube channel, and the song is called Get Hyper, and we use it for both the intro and the outro, and I do the head nod every time we play it as well. 12 Edicts 21, first-person shooter market isn't that crowded. There's no good free-to-play first-person shooter games out yet. Last week, Caitlin, we said, hey, it's kind of a crowded market, right?
Yeah.
Well, this person, 12 Edicts 21, just says, no, it's not, because there's no good ones out there.
It's not crowded with good games, it's just crowded
with crap. Emil says, for the question of the week, I think that China will solve its hunger crisis by zombifying half its population with a free-to-play version of this game. I mean, really, so much Rise will be available that they might need to export some of it.
I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that one. I don't want to make Havek mad by saying zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm going to bite my tongue because I know this show is probably going super long right now. And I know you're going to have to edit a whole bunch of stuff out, so I'll save you the time.
I appreciate it. Slotic says, here's a challenge to you at MMO Bomb. A PvP challenge to the other big free-to-play MMO website, MMO Hut. They pick the game, but you both choose fans to PvP it out. Everybody wants us to, fight with MMO Hut. and most of our videos, have some sort of discussion at some point. MMO Bomb versus MMO Hut. Well, and we appreciate it. Well, we definitely do, guys. But obviously, they're a ton bigger than us, and we've got a little bit of a different thing going. I don't have anything against MMO Hut. I think for the type of content that they produce, they do it well. And if you like that type of content, fine. I think we produce a kind of a different type of content. I think our site is more community-focused than just website creators versus the people that listen.
I say we do some real-life PvP.
Try to take over offices and things like that. No, they're good guys over there.
Battle to the death. Come on, MMO Hunt, bring it. Hut, bring it. I'm kidding. I'm really just kidding.
They're good guys. I just think I don't even put us, in the same type of category as far as competition. Obviously, they're a lot bigger than us and more established than us, and that's fine. I just think we do a bit of a different thing.
I have better aim.
We're more community-focused than just content-driven. Question of the week for you guys next week. What does pay-to-win mean to you? We all have different ideas on this, so what's your definition? I've always given mine, and sometimes to my detriment, and sometimes I get trolled and lambasted when I make different opinions, and that's okay. We have differing opinions. I always put it this way. If you have something in the cash shop that I cannot obtain any other way by buying cash, and it impacts my ability to achieve the top level of performance in the game, that is pay to win. That's my definition. If you offer something in the cash shop that I can obtain in-game, but it takes me longer to get it, that is not pay to win. I'm trading money for time. In my calculations, that's not pay to win. I have, however, added pay to have fun after some viewers a while ago convinced me that pay to have fun should be a category. And games like we talked about earlier, Drakensang Online, fit my category of pay to have fun, where you've got to repurchase the same things over and over again. So what does pay to win mean to you guys? Everybody's going to have a different definition, so don't fight. It's all right. Just put your comments below. Make sure while you're there you rate, comment, subscribe to the channels, and come on over, see all the other shows we got at mmobomb.com. We're going to throw it around for the final word, starting with you, Havek.
Not much. Just come and check me out on my DJ page, facebook.com, DJ Havek, Havek. Got a bunch of songs up there that I did, mixes and everything. Share it with your friends. Hit the like button, comment, etc., etc. All that good, social networking stuff.
What about you, Kaylin?
Well, I finally got around to making a Twitter this week, so you guys can find me on Twitter. It's Kahlyn2, Kahlyn, and then the number 2.
What's Twitter? Oh, is that fad thing that's going around?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
For
new
the month.
fad.
Well, the internet thing's a fad anyway. That's going to go away here pretty soon.
Right.
Something will overtake it.
What was that? Kahlyn 2?
Yes,
The number 2. I don't see you.
it's there.
I don't see you. Well, guys, for Kaylin and for Havek, I'm Magic Man. You can hit me on the Twitters at magicman1, MAGICKMANN1. You can hit me on the email, magicman@mmobomb.com. That one's spelled MAGICMAN at mmobomb.com. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.